What's up, guys? Z here. We're back with Diablo again. However, there's a little monkey wrench into it this time. See, I stepped out of my comfort zone with the barbarian and I started a crusader. And I literally spent like 1 day on her. But I will show you how far I got with her. Now, obviously, the playstyle is a little bit different than the barbarian. However, I saw this one build that I had to try out. It basically revolves around thorn damage. And if you don't know what thorn damage is, it's when your character gets hit by somebody else, they deal damage back to them. So if we go into my detail tab here, you'll see my thorns are sitting at about 154,000. It's not bad. I need to get it higher, but the build is focused around thorns, like I said, and massive amounts of cooldown. You'll see my cooldown reductions at 44.17%, which is pretty decent. That's partially thanks to my Leoric's crown that's ancient. Excuse me. And what that does is it increases the effect of any gems socketed into this item by 79%. Now, it can roll for 100%, and I only got 79, but it's an ancient, and I need that, and I'll explain why later. But I threw in the cooldown reduction with a diamond, Flawless Royal, to get that 12.5%, and then there's another 79% of that 12.5 on top of it, so that helps with the cooldown. The shoulders are also ancient, so they were a shoe-in for a reason, but they increase my bombardment damage, which is important, and they make me explode, which I think is pretty close to top. Yeah, 32% chance to explode with some weapon damage, which is really not that important with this build. Your weapon damage is not super important. It's the thorns damage that really needs to be as high as possible. But my shoulders for this build are not super important. I got these because I'm getting hit all the time, and it deals a little bit of damage, and it's an ancient, so I needed that. Unfortunately, my Hellfire Amulet, I've only made like maybe 4 of these, so I haven't gotten an ancient yet, but I needed that indestructible passive in order to stay alive in harder difficulties, because like I said with this build, I'm doing thorns, so I'm getting hit a lot. And the higher I go, I can sometimes get like a couple shots and then I'm like down to critical life. So with the indestructible passive for this character, that makes you stay alive. So that's pretty imperative. Especially if you're going to do this as a hardcore build, which I would not recommend this at all for a hardcore build. But you need to have your character's failsafe equipped if you're going against super high level people, especially in greater rifts, so you don't waste so much time resurrecting, or on hardcore mode you're dead. So that's the thing, but it's there. The chest, I haven't found the one I wanted yet, but and I don't even have maxed out gems in it yet. They're the ones below it. However, it increases bombard damage. It's a legendary and it had 3 slots. I mean, that's why it's there. That's pretty much the only reason. My wrists, I don't think they're best in slot per se, but they're pretty fantastic because they have thorns damage on it, and that the gold text shows chance of being hit to deal 1,000% of my thorns damage to nearby enemies, which is fantastic. And then you got your resistance to all elements to help me have a little bit more toughness. Again, not ancient, which kind of sucks, but it's alright. Then I have gloves of worship, which are ancient, on my hands. Resistance to all elements, which is helpful. I get life per hit, which it helps. I mean, I'm hitting people, but I'm not really hitting people. I'll explain. And then shrine effects last for 10 minutes. I don't really give a crap about that, but whatever. Check this bad boy out. I was farming from the moment I saw the build for this belt. Well, as soon as I hit 70, I should say. This belt is pretty damn cool, and there's a couple reasons why. First of all, I have resistance to all elements, which is helpful to keep me alive. Then it has a large amount of thorns damage on it, which is also awesome. Now, here is the absolute pinnacle of this belt. This is why it's best in slot, as far as I can tell, for this build. Every 6 seconds, and I think it's 6 to 8, yep, and I got the 6, which is freaking awesome. Every 6 seconds, call down a bombardment on a random nearby enemy. It calls down by itself. Like, I don't even have to cast it. It'll just start attacking people with freaking bombardment by itself. It's autonomous attacking is like amazing. So then we move on to the pants. The pants are also not best in slot. They're just there. I needed pants with 2 sockets in it and decent stats And that's what I got. And I rolled it for some thorns damage to increase my damage output. Now we'll go into the rings. This is the only set that I'm using in this for right now, and I think it's the only one I'm going to use. Now, it's also an ancient ring, which is also important, because if you read the 2-set bonus, while this is your only set item set bonus, every ancient item you have equipped increases your damage dealt by 100% and reduces my damage taken by 4. So, if we do a quick count, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ancients. So we got 500% damage and 20% damage reduction, like, all the time. Nothing else included. So that's pretty damn awesome. Also, has reduces cooldown on all my skills by 6%. Again, I will explain why that's really important. This is a cooldown build. You have no active attacks. You just do cooldowns. So you need that cooldown to be like fantastic. Other than that, I don't really care about the other stats too much besides strength and vitality. The more life I have, the more I can survive. And I put Boyarsky's chip, sorry, I don't know how to say that correctly, into the ring. Now, this is my main legendary gem, and the reason is thorn damage. I don't care about the taunt the first enemy hit by my primary skills. I don't use any primary skills. But that thorn damage is moving up about 800 per rank, I believe. And it's only 27, and we're sitting at 37,000 plus. That's pretty serious. I mean, you can see that my overall thorns, 154, that's more than 37,500. That's kind of a big deal. So then we go over to the other set of the Legacy of Nightmares. And then we have a damage increase, strength, critical hit damage, cold resist, and reducing CC effects, which is also pretty important so I don't get held up. And then I have, for now, which I honestly will probably leave there for a while until I'm hitting like extremely high Greater Rift levels, because I could throw in Bane of the Stricken, which is the one that for every consecutive hit I have on somebody, it increases my damage by a certain percentage, which is great for my barbarian because I'm hitting people like a billion times, and especially on single target where he suffers from not being able to deal with single targets as well as he can deal with huge hordes of enemies. That makes sense. On this build, however, for right now, I need to use Bane of the Powerful. A, because my rank is much higher, and I would have to start a new Bane of the Stricken on this character because I have it on my Barbarian, like I said. But this is pretty handy. It gives me 15% more damage versus the elites and 15% less damage received from the elites, which is super important because I need to survive and able to kill people because they have to hit me. So that's why that's there right now. Now, if we go to my weapon, this is not actually what the build recommends, but I found it to be fantastic because I actually had a ancient legendary two-handed, and I was using a passive to make it where I could hold it in one hand, and it was dealing a lot of damage. However, I went to one hand with less damage. I was able to open up a passive for something that was more useful for me, and this is a monster on thorn damage. Almost 9k thorn damage just in the stats. That's freaking amazing. And just the strength and vitality alone are very, very high because of that ancient modifier. Also, it's ancient. So yeah, that was important. Then I used Ramaladi's gift, and I threw in a flawless royal topaz for 38k more thorns. So this is an astronomical amount of thorns added to my build. So that was a no-brainer. These are also not best in slot. They're just there. They're not ancient, unfortunately. I don't think I have any ancient boots, but it just helps me a little bit with some resistances, and I get more movement speed if I'm starting to die, so I can kind of like run out a little bit, which is not super important because I have an attack mobility thing where basically I can run away and nothing can stop me besides elite walls, and that's about it. The shield is not best in slot again, but it's pretty decent. It has resistance to everything. It has a lot of thorns damage, almost 6k, and then I take about half damage from blocked attacks, which I think already take off. Well, I guess it takes off that much damage, which, I mean, it helps. It's whatever. And then for my legendary potion is just increasing my armor by 16% for 5 seconds, because I need massive amounts of armor to survive. So let's go real quickly to the skills. My left mouse click is bombardment with barrels of spikes. Now, what this does is it calls in an assault from afar, raining 5 barrels onto the battlefield, and it'll hit people within 12 yards of each impact zone. So 5 areas, 12 yards. It hits like a lot of people. And then I put the rune in to make the damage increased by 200% of my thorns. So they're dealing thorn physical damage. I believe I'm missing a convention of elements from my Kanai's cube, which, if I do it right, can make me have it where when physical rotation is up, I think it's every 16 seconds, I can do a bombardment and it does that much more damage. The other attack is my steed charge, which lets me ride on my horse for 2 seconds, but it's doubled to 4 seconds through Kanai's cube right now. And my damage through this running into people is 500% every second thorns damage. Fantastic. It'll actually kill most regular low-end enemies. For my first slot, condemn with vacuum, it sucks everybody in. I don't care about the damage at all. I don't care about anything. It's a utility skill. It gets everybody right up on my face within a certain amount of area. Iron Skin, it sounds like a failsafe for me, but actually it massively boosts my thorn damage. So you can see, while active, your thorns is increased by 300%. Crushing. I can do my steed charge and be standing there next to an enemy, and it's taking off big chunks. If I hit Iron Skin and I do a steed charge or bombardment, it's like KO absolutely. I haven't had enemies been able to stand up to me. And I mean, I'm only on Torment 8 right now, but I've ran at least 2 Torment 9 to maybe 10 Greater Rift with this character, and it's really not that hard. The hardest thing is just staying alive, because I'm getting hit so many times. So I threw this on, and this is kind of like a, you can take it, you can leave it. It's kind of up to you. I got this for survivability. It gives me 10,728 life per second all the time, which is helpful to keep me moving. But also when I activate it, it gives me a shield for 5 seconds that absorbs a bunch of damage. And the good part is I can move unimpeded through enemies and increases my speed by 50%. So if everything's on cooldown and I gotta go, I hit that. Usually when I pull in everybody with Condemn, I hit Iron Skin, Laws of Hope, and Akarat's Champion, hit Bombardment, blow everybody up. And if everybody's standing still, I'll steed charge. You'll kind of see it real quick, because I'll show you like an example. And Akarat's Champion, I just put the rune in for 150% additional armor. So like I said, when they're all pulled up to me, I can stay alive a little bit longer. So I had Heavenly Strengthen for the two-handed weapon, which lets me hold it in one hand with a 20% reduction in damage, blah, blah, blah. Now I replace it with Fervor, because not only does it make the attack speed, which I don't really care about too much, increase by 15% for the one-handed, but it cuts my cooldowns, all of them, by 15%. Yes, that is nice. Then I have Iron Maiden, which increases thorns by 50%. What else do you need to know? Lord Commander, cooldown of Steed Charge is reduced by 25%. Awesome. And Bombardment by 35%. Do not care in the slightest about the Phalanx increased damage. I don't give a shit. Those cooldowns are, well, at least the Bombardment is very long. So reducing that cooldown is imperative to dealing damage. And then my last one is Finery. I gain 1.5% strength for every gem socked into my gear. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And eventually I'll have one in my shield. I mean, that's 11. That's quite substantial. And that'll increase my armor and my damage. So even right now, my strength is over 10k. And I don't even have maxed out gems on me. So it's not too bad. My helper, nobody gives a shit. I don't even, like, I honestly don't even gear her up. But I'll show you real quick a little Nephilim Rift. And I'll just show you like how you do this. But my cooldown reduction is so significant that at least with Steed Charge being double time. Come on there, computer. Load it up. You can see that it comes back pretty fast. So if I hop in, using bombardment, everybody just fucking dies. This build is hilarious because I'm not actually attacking anybody. I literally can just stand here and people will fucking kill themselves along with the belt bombing everybody, and then I can just speed charge when they run at me and it annihilates them. This build is hilariously fun though because you have such an enormous amount of speed from the speed charge that nobody can touch you. You can run through anybody uninhibited except for elite walls, like I said. It's amazing. And all your attacks, even your big cooldowns, they don't have a big cooldown because you're focused on just getting that cooldown done because this is a cooldown build. You want things to be over as fast as possible. And I mean, I know this isn't like a super hard torment level or anything, but you can see this is like absolute cake. Cake, my friends. Cake. Hey everybody, what's everybody doing? Oh, you're all dead because you fucking hit me. You gotta try. If you play Diablo, you have got to try. What is it? Legacy of Nightmares. Bombardment Thorns build. It is disgusting. Like absolutely trashes people. I don't even know why I bother. I mean, here we go. I'll just walk into some guys. We got an elite. I'll just stand here, and I won't do anything. You see that shit? I think the build talks for itself. I built this guy. Granted, he was my second character because I had the barbarian, so I had a stash full of a couple little items that I could throw on. But this character is like not even close to being at that point where it's like, all right, she's about maxed out. There's not much more you can do besides like Paragon level, maybe like a little bit better Ancient roll here, a little bit better Hellfire Amulet. This bitch is not even close. I mean, she's doing all right, but honestly, she's like very, very close to being as powerful as the barbarian, and I spent like probably a couple weeks on that guy. So it's a different kind of play style, but it's fucking awesome. I gotta say, amazing. Well, that's about it, guys. I just wanted to let you know on the new build, I was branching out, trying some new things, and I highly, highly recommend this build. It is freaking awesome. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Later.